G'day guys, you get to see my face again, lucky buggers. Okay, so what I'm doing today, I'm rebuilding an EAS compressor. I put one in my Range Rover, I don't know, 2 months ago, something like that, that I was led to believe was rebuilt, but it wasn't rebuilt, didn't last too long and stopped pumping. Luckily I got plan B in the back, I've got another compressor that I can switch on to take care of the suspension until I can rebuild it. So anyway, now what I've got is 2 compressors that need a rebuild. Yay. I should have rebuilt this one when I pulled it out. This is the dusty one that was laying on the floor. I've cleaned it up a little bit. So I've done this before, but I just thought after watching Story's video on how to do it, again, there was a couple of things that I reckon maybe finer points that could be explained a little bit better for the first timers doing this job. It's not hard. It's not hard at all. You need basic tools. You don't need specialist seal picks or anything like that. Just standard ratchets, spanners, Allen keys and small screwdrivers. That'll get you through the job. First point I wanted to make was this little inspection screw that you'll see in the side of the air compressor. So that's one particular size, Allen key. When you get in there to take the actual set screw out of the piston, it's a smaller sized Allen key. That's just something that wasn't explained in his video. Not knocking him, he's done a fantastic job, and I bet millions of people have used his guide before. But that's one thing that I noticed last time. I didn't record it because I wasn't big on videos back then. That's one thing, the first thing to note. The second thing is, when you're getting the piston out, the piston and the balancing weight are a one unit. Don't try and separate the two. They're one. So when you're finished, this is what you'll be left with. Sorry about the glare there. I've got the garage doors open. So it'll just be the shaft for the motor that's left in there. Nothing crazy about that. These come out as one, and it comes out pretty easy. I just used a large flathead screwdriver to get that out. That wasn't an issue. Another thing when you're rebuilding your compressor, if it's got some years on it, this is a different, don't mind the colour of this one. They can wear these little sleeves, the piston sleeves. You can see the scoring in there. Well, it's not scoring, it's just worn the anodizing off. So this one was anodized, and it probably shouldn't have been anodized, which is why it's worn all that off. And obviously eventually it stopped sealing. It's not scored in the sense that it's got scratch marks in it, but you can run your finger through here, if I can actually get you to see that, and where it changes from the anodizing to the metal, there's a definitive lump there where it's taken the anodizing off. So something to keep in mind if you get a rebuild kit for your compressor, it might be a good idea to get a new sleeve as well, just in case. Last thing you want to do is get caught out and have to use a scored sleeve inside your compressor, and you know up here that you're going to have to pull it apart again really soon to repair that. Another thing that Story did really well was removing the old piston seal. This is a new one, I've already put it back on, but what I wanted to explain was how I did it. So I've got a Stanley screwdriver set, I'm pretty sure they're worldwide. What I used was, in those fine ones, the middle size flathead screwdriver. And what I did, instead of getting it in underneath, I didn't cut it for starters, my old seal is here. I didn't cut the seal, I just got this screwdriver and gently worked it in underneath the seal, and instead of working side to side as I was trying to lift, I just prised it up a little bit, and I went around and did a little bit by little bit, and very, very small. You don't want to damage this brass ring. If you damage that, then they'll be hell to pay, and you just might as well buy a new compressor. So very, very gently I worked my way around with this one until this one didn't have the leverage to lift up the seal, and then I went to a bigger Stanley flathead screwdriver after that. Yeah, that's another thing. In his video also, you'll notice he put the head on back to front. The air outlet, it comes out towards where the air filter is on his compressor. So that's something to be wary of. But also, another thing that I wanted to show you is what I'm actually doing with my setup prior to putting the compressor back in the car. So you'll see on this plate here where your air compressor is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill and tap that and put this push fitting on. So I'm going to screw that in so I can run a 6mm air line from the air compressor, and I'm going to go through the box here and into the lid of my air filter box to save using those little tiny air filters that these compressors have got. And I've got 2 compressors that I'm rebuilding today, so I'm going to do both of them the same. What that means is you never have to replace the little air filters on these compressors, because you're getting the air from your already filtered airbox. And not only that, the air in your airbox is likely to be cooler than the air that's in the engine bay of the car where these things breathe from. So it gives the air compressor just that little bit more chance. It doesn't heat it up as much, so eliminating heat from anything is going to prolong the life of it indefinitely. So that's just a couple of things to keep in mind, a little project that I've got, and I'll hopefully do up a little video afterwards. You can sort of see, I'm sure I explained it sufficiently. But if you're doing it, good luck. It's not hard. You don't need to be any pro mechanic. Give yourself half a day and take your time to do it, and do it right. Get the right seals, get the O-rings. Definitely replace the O-rings in your little head. Take the reed valves out and replace them, because if you don't, and there's just a tiny little mark, they won't seal, and you'll have air will leak back through the compressor when it's switched off, and all manner of things can happen. So it's best to do it right the first time and be happy with what you've done. Good luck, guys.